Hi everybody, this is lesson 73, Algebra 2, and this lesson we're going to cover more on radical denominators. Alright, this is just like the problems that we've been doing with the radical denominators where we have to multiply by the conjugate to get rid of this denominator. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the conjugate of 2 minus 3 times the square root of 3. So that would be 2 plus 3 times the square root of 3. Remember, the conjugate, you just change the sign in the middle. We multiply the top times the same. Okay, so here I'm going to show my multiplication above. So on the top, so I've got 4 plus the square root of 3 times 2 plus 3 times the square root of 3. So I'm going to multiply these first. I'm going to rainbow this. 4 times 2 would be 8. 3 times 4 would be 12 times the square root of 3. Now I'm going to go down here. 3 times 2, that would be 2 times the square root of 3. Okay, square root of 3 times 2. And then this one would be 3 times the square root of 9. Okay, so now I can add like terms right here. And I can pull this one out and say 3 times 3 is 9. So I have 8 plus 9 plus 12 times the square root of 3 plus 2 times the square root of 3. Okay, these two I can put together. 8, 9, 16, 17 plus 12 plus 2 will be 14 times the square root of 3. Okay, so I put everything together. That's my new top. 17 plus 14 times the square root of 3. Now I'm going to do my multiplication below. So these bottom ones. So I've got 2 minus 3 times the square root of 3 times 2 plus 3 times the square root of 3. So I'm just going to rainbow that. That would be 4. That would be negative 9 times the square root of 9. That would be negative 3 times 2 is 6 times the square root of 6. And then we would have negative, positive, see, oh, that's a positive. Oh, I messed that all up. Let me start over. Mixed up on one of those. Start over. All right, 2 times 2, 4. Easy peasy. All right, 2 times 3 times the square root of 3. 2 times 3 would be 6. It's a positive 6 times the square root of 3. There we go. Now right here, it's the same thing, but it's negative 6 times the square root of 3. All right, and then here we would have negative 9 times the square root of 9. Okay, these are going to cancel each other, and we're going to have 4. And then that square root of 9 is 3. So we need 3 times 9 would be negative 27. And for negative 27 would be negative 23. So that is our new bottom, negative 23. And that 17 was supposed to be negative. Nope, that's positive. Okay, so there's two different ways that you can write this. You can write it as 17 plus 14 times the square root of 3 over negative 23. Or you could write it, you could move that negative to the top, and you could write negative 17 minus 14 times the square root of 3 over positive 23. Either of those is the correct answer. All right, let's try another one. Okay, so we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the conjugate. All right, so the conjugate of this, we're just going to change the sign in the middle. So we've got 4 minus 3 times the square root of 2 over 4 minus 3 times the square root of 2. All right, so I'm going to do my top first. 4 minus the square root of 2 times 4 minus 3 times the square root of 2. All right, so 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 4 is 12, and that would be negative 12 times the square root of 2. Then we got this one, negative 2, so that would be negative 4 times the square root of 2. And then this one, negative times negative is a positive 3 times the square root of 2 times 2 will be 4. Okay, so this one we could pull out and say 2 times 3, and that whole thing equals 6. All right, so we've got 16 plus 6 minus negative 12. Negative 4 would be negative 16 times the square root of 2. Okay. All right, so we're going to do, wait, where'd that 6, let's see, 16 plus 6. Oh, 16 plus 6, 16. That would be 22 minus 16 square root of 2. Yes. So we've got 22 minus 16 times the square root of 2. That's our top. Now our bottom. All right, so we're going to do 4 plus 3 times the square root of 2 times 4 minus 3 times the square root of 2. Okay, we're going to multiply 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 3 would be negative 12 times the square root of 2. We're going to go here. 3 times 4 would be positive 12 times the square root of 2. And then we're going to multiply here, and we're going to get 3 times 3 is 9 times the square root of 4. Those cancel, and we're going to have 16 minus 9 times the square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 9 times 2 is 18. 16 minus 18. And we're going to get negative 2. Okay, so here's our answer, but we can reduce that. So we've got 22 minus 16 times the square root of 2 over 2. So if we canceled here, we would have 1. Now we make 11. And if we canceled there, we would end up with half of 16 is 8. So we've got 11 minus 8 times the square root of 2 over 1. So we don't have a bottom anymore. Okay, you could write it like that, or you could write it as negative 11 plus 8 times the square root of 2. Okay, either of these answers is correct. Right there. Oh yeah, that was a negative. Yes. So that simplifies to there. Actually, yes. All right, so let's try another one. All right, one more here. All right, so this one, we're going to multiply on the top and the bottom by the conjugate. 3 square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 2. 3 square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 2. I'm going to do the top first. 3 times square root of 12 minus 2 times square root of 3 times 3 square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 2. Okay, first we're going to multiply here. 3 times 3 is 9. 12 times 3 is 36. Okay, then we're going to multiply here. 3 times 2 is 6. 12 times 2 is 24. Okay, then we're going to multiply this one. 2 times 3 would be 6, and that would be negative 6. 3 times 3 is 9. Then we're going to multiply this last 2. 2 times 2, negative 4, because of that negative right there. And then 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so now we're going to pull out any squares out of this. So 6 times 6 is 36, so that'll be a 6. We need to multiply there. 24, that would be 3. Okay, and then the square root of 24 can be simplified. 3 times, let's see, 4 times, 6 times 4 is 24. So that would be 2 times the square root of 6. And 2 times 6 is 12. So 9 times 6 is 54. We've got that one. This one, 3 times 6 is 18. So there's our whole numbers. Then this one would be 6 times 2 is 12 times the square root of 6 minus 4 times the square root of 6. All right, so now we have some like terms. 54 minus 18. 6 and 8 is 14. 4 minus 1 is 3, 36. Okay, and then 12 minus 4 be 8. Okay, so there's our new top. 36 plus 8 times the square root of 6. All right, now we're going to do the bottom. Three times the square root of 3 minus 2 times the square root of 2. 3 square root of 3 plus 2 square root of 2. Okay, so here first, 3 times 3 is 9. And then inside the square roots, 3 times 3 is 9. We'll do this next one. 3 times 2 would be 6. And then 3 times 2 would be another 6. Then down here, 2 times 3 is 6, that would be negative 6. And then 2 times 3 is another 6. And then our last two, negative 2 times positive 2 would be negative 4. And then 2 times 2 inside would be 4. All right, those are going to cancel. And I'll get 9 times the square root of 9 minus 4 times the square root of 4. That would be a 3. That would be a 2. 9 times 3 is 27, minus 2 times 4 is 8. All right, so 27 minus 8 would be 19. So that goes up top as the bottom term there. So we got 36 plus 8 times the square root of 6 over 19, and that's the answer to that one. Okay, pause the video and work the practice problems. There's only 2 of them, and I'll come back and work them for you. All right, so here's our first one. On this one, we're going to multiply this times the conjugate of that. No, we don't even have to do that on this one. We're just going to multiply 2 times the square root of 3 and times 2 times the square root of 3. All right, so for the bottom, pretty easy. Times 2, so 2 times the square root of 3 times 2 times the square root of 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. That would be 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Goes on the bottom. And then we have 5 plus the square root of 3 times 2 times the square root of 3. 5 times 2 is 10 times the square root of 3. And then right here, 2 square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So we're going to have 10 times the square root of 3 plus 6. All right, so to simplify that, I'm going to write it the other way around. 6 plus the square root 6 plus 10 times the square root of 3 over 12. We can cancel here, right? So we can divide everything by 2. That would be 6. That would be 3. And that would be a 5. So our answer would be 3 plus 5 times square root of 3 over 6. And that's the answer to that one. Pretty simple. All right, next one. This one we're going to have to multiply times the conjugate. So we're multiplying above and below times 2 square root of 3 plus 3 square root of 2. 2 square root of 3 plus 3 square root of 2. So for our top, we're going to have 2 times square root of 12 minus 3 times square root of 3. And we're multiplying that times 2 times square root of 3 plus 3 times square root of 2. All right. First two terms, 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, inside the radicals, 3 times 12 is 36. Outside terms, 2 times 3 is 6. 12 times 2 is 24. Inside terms, 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. And then our last terms, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, now we got to pull these square roots out. So that would be 6 times 4 is 24. This one, the square root of 24, we said is the same as 6 times 4. And that would be 2 times square root of 6. We pull that out, we've got 2 times square root of 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, that one would be a 3. 3 times 6 is 18. Minus 9, square root of 6. Now we've got some like terms right here. 12 minus 9 would be 3. 12 minus 9 is 3 times square root of 6. And then we've got 18. 24 minus 18 would be 6. So our top is going to be, write it over here, 6 plus 3 times the square root of 6. Okay, and now we need to do the bottom, which is going to be 2 square root of 3 minus 3 square root of 2. 2 square root of 3 plus 3 square root of 2. All right, first, 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 9. Okay, and then this will be plus 2 times 3 is 6, square root of 6. And then here we'd have the opposite of that. And then here we have the last term, so that would be negative 9, square root of 4. Those cancel. This would be 3 times 4 is 12. That would be a 2. 9 times 2 is 18. So that's going to be a negative 6. Okay, now we can divide by 3 on both of these. So we're going to end up with, that would be a 1, that would be a 2, that would be a 2. So 2 plus the square root of 6 over negative 2. Or you can move that negative to the top and you'd have negative 2 minus the square root of 6 over 2. Either one of those answers is correct. All right, that is it for lesson 73. Thank you for watching.